we have here in the Abuja studio Honorable Gabriel Zock, who's representing Kagarko Federal Constituency in the National Assembly. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Happy Easter to you, Honorable Zock.
Same to you.
We just want to talk about this the situation. Of course, we know that your constituents will be celebrating Easter, some of them, at this point in time. But yesterday, the 137 children that were rescued, that had been kidnapped, returned home, and with promises of free education and facilities, new facilities in their home, in their community, and also the fact that the government also promised to rebuild and to ensure that the school is more secure than it was before. But in the face of all of that, what's the situation? How are your constituents coping with this challenge of insecurity?
Well, as we all know, the problem of insecurity is all over the country, Nigeria. Just of recent, you heard about the adoption of the girls, and there was so much exaggeration about it. But I believe in the leader that we have in the state, which is Governor.
You mean in your concept? But
I'm talking about the state, yes.
Yes, Kuriga is what you're talking about.
Kuriga.
So it's the children, right?
Yeah.
Those boys and girls that were abducted.
Yes. So, and I believe about the leadership of the governor. The first thing that happened, the governor went to the community and he spoke to the community leader and put up a 7-man committee in finding a way to bring back this girl. And he kept his promise. What we want about leadership is about delivering your promise after you made. He promised the community that the children will return back safe. And the governor, he didn't just say it and went back to sleep. We all know the governor came back to Abuja, met with the National Security Advisor, met with the president, and met with the Chief of Defense Staff. And the National Security Advisor and Chief of Defense Staff deploy modalities that these girls could be bring back to their community. And today, as you can see, Kaduna State is jubilating. We have future president, we have future House of Rep members, we have future leaders. Among those people that the governor have put in upon him to sacrifice his resources to sponsor these children to tertiary level. Yeah. They said Kaduna today is celebrating 137 people. Let me say 134 because 6 are undergoing medical treatment, which has been reunited back to their family.
Okay. The question I asked the question because you are representing the people, so you get to meet your constituent over and over again. Talk to us. How do they feel about this situation, and how are they coping, especially in this Easter period?
Well, I'll come back to my own constituency, Kagarko. I think a few months back, there is a community in Ida, Kagarko local government, that has several attacks of banditry. And I thank the local government chairman, which is Honorable Nasser Arabo. He brought out modality where we collaborate with the army. And today, most of the community are at peace. In Qatari, I think 2 weeks ago, or 3 days ago, the Labour candidate, which I contested with, I think the bandit adopted his wife, and then killed his brother, and then adopted 25 others, which I've communicated with the army in that area. They are doing their own best to see how they'll bring back those people that have been adopted. It's not easy because every day, I had a program 2 weeks ago in the community, in the constituency, and it's called Empowerment for Women and in the Community. I empowered about 500 women with 37 million naira grant in my constituency. But during that empowerment, I slept in the village. I couldn't sleep that night. Whenever I hear any small noise, I would rise and So the primary aim of every government is to protect the life and properties of the citizen. Nigeria don't need anything today. What they need is peace. Once you have peace, you can't. Those that are 35 years or 40 years of age will tell you 20 years ago you can travel from here to Lagos at any time without the fear of any insecurity. But today you can't do that. So the president and the governor, they are putting head. It's a new administration. What we need, I had to organize a one-day prayer, interfaith prayer for both Christian and Muslim. I'm a Christian. And as the Bible said, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, maybe we should seek the face of God during this lengthy period so that God will give the leaders idea on how to tackle this insecurity, because it's a very big problem. Insecurity will cripple Nigeria economy. Insecurity will cripple every investor that is coming to Nigeria. The first thing, there's insecurity. So once the government gets it right in fighting insecurity, I believe Nigeria will be like the American of our dream.
Well, indeed, we celebrate with you and the people of Kuriga and Kaduna by extension, and because when such an incident happens, where children are taken away from any school or taken away from a playground or where children are involved, it becomes a national issue. Because if it can happen in one place, it can happen in any other place. And I noticed you kept on saying girls. I think that's as a result of what has happened in Chibok. Everybody just got used to girls being taken. But this time around, it was children that were affected. And I think it's such a good thing that at least these children have now been returned. Were you concerned about the disparity, though, in the figures? Because, there's been some explanation that it was because it was 2 lists that were sent. There weren't attempts to reconcile the lists, and that's what accounted for the initial 200 plus number we were hearing. Would you say that we've really taken up systems to, ensure proper accountability when issues like this occur?
Well, the media in Nigeria exaggerate on every situation that comes around.
It's interesting you're putting this on the media.
Yeah, because, for example, now, whenever something happens in Nigeria, you see the media will twist it just to get media attention, and it's not right.
Which media? I think we need to be very
clear. When I say media,
because we certainly operate in the media and we don't twist
You know
stories.
why I said media? I'm a politician. And do you know I distributed 37 million? And some media said I distributed 100 million. Some media said, how did he distribute? Media, they don't come out with, you see, when you are carrying news, you should carry exactly what happened at that. Some of the media people are not there when this thing happened. And when you say they adapt boys and girls in a school, the first thing we should do is to get the data of the students that are in the school. Mm-hmm. Before bringing up any news to the world to listen. Now, the numbers of the students in the school are how many? How many were in attendance on that very day in the school? But you can't just come and quote figures over 200 people.
But you know that the media got that information from someone in the school.
It's someone.
So why would you? If I asked you now, you said you empower 500 women, for instance. If I tell you, let's have the names of the 500 women you empowered, would you be willing to list that name?
Just now, I will give you all the list.
Fantastic. That is you. So, but is it every politician or every public servant that will do that?
You see why I said the media. Now, the media got the news from these people. What is the source of the news? That the media were not there when these people, that person that the media got the news from, was he in the school at the point that they came to adapt? Why did he escape? How did he escape? Now, were he there when they were counting the people, putting them in the box that they were taking away? No. So now, the first and foremost, you get the data from the principal or from every school have the data of the amount of students that are there. So my advice to the media every day is take every news you want to carry out.
Hold on. This is not in defense of the media. I just think that it is important to note, or it's important to know that this particular piece of information did not become controversial until the children were returned. Now, that began to become a source of controversy after the military said they were returning 137 children. That's when we now began to ask questions as to the initial figure which had been quoted. And then that's when the explanation started to come up, which I think goes back to the authorities. Because usually when an incident like this occurs, after it has happened, the governor has visited, there needs to be a proper briefing, stating precisely what has happened and also how many people were involved, etc. The military does that sometimes, in its own operations. They do that. But we didn't see that in this particular instance. It's until the children were being returned. And I think that just yesterday was when the families were reunited with their children. As I said, the only reason why there will be any reason to cry foul is if any parent is still waiting for their child to come back and the child is not in the hospital or the child did not come back amongst the rest. That's when we know that, okay, there's something quite up. Maybe not all of the children were rescued. Maybe some children are still missing. That's when perhaps we can have all of that. But right now, we've not been told that any parent is still looking for their child. So we'll keep fingers crossed and say maybe there was actually an error, with the initial number. But this is what we're looking at now, children being abducted. We're hoping it doesn't happen again, but we know that hope, as my colleague will say, is not a strategy. What precisely should we be doing now on the part of the executive and not just Kaduna State, but even people, representatives, good and well-meaning people of different parts of this country? It doesn't have to be Kaduna, because if this kind of thing can happen in Kaduna, it means it can happen anywhere else. As a lawmaker, somebody who is also, paying attention, representing people, you talked about how you couldn't sleep. How do we put confidence back in the minds of these children to be able to go back to school, considering what they've been through?
Well, I think everyone had the governor's briefing, impressed, and how he has promised to actually bring social amenities to that school, first and foremost, make the school conducive for the community and the children that were kidnapped by the bandit. And also, he also promised to father them. You see, everyone that has a father, every child believes that his father can beat anybody. If you go and touch my son, the only thing, no matter how huge you are, he will tell you, when my father comes, I will tell him. Those children know that they have a new father, which is the governor of the state. And he has given them confidence. Yeah,
those are for the children.
He has given them confidence.
Or what about all the children in the state who, perhaps saw what inspired?
You see, the problem has not happened everywhere in the state. The problem happened in a particular spot in the state. And government present is there now. The governor, the president, the military, and even the community. So the only thing, you see, Nigeria are fighting with unknown people. You see, when you talk about banditry, just of recent in my constituency, the military are doing very well. What the military are tackling more are the informants. For example, I came here, I don't know what is in your mind. I don't know what is in my mind. So it's only when I voice what is in my mind that you know. So the military are doing very well. It's a very difficult fight where you cannot say this is where it's coming from. Just like how the governor is said in his last interview. You see, what causes this problem is, to me, is hunger. Because if there is empowerment, if everyone has something to do, if you go to the developed world, the unemployed people actually have security. What I mean by security, the government will take off their house rent, take off their medical bill and other things. So I think if the government of Nigeria can actually take the exact data of the people, of the unemployed people. There was a bill I was trying to sponsor in the National Assembly, an act to establish unemployed support, for government to support the unemployed people. When you see so many people who come to me, I've graduated 10 years ago, no employment and this. What will come to their mind after when something bad hit them and they run to you, that they feel that you can help them and they see that you are not helping them? So these are the things that the government should look at. As you are tackling the insecurity, the major insecurity is hunger. You know, once you tackle hunger, I believe the problem of Nigeria will be solved. We have talented people in Nigeria.
I think that's a good place for us to hang it there on a roll, Zock. Thank you so much for coming. Gabriel Saleh Zock is a member of the House of Representatives representing Katia Kagarko Federal Constituency. Thank you once again for coming. And we wish you a happy Easter.
Same to you.
I do believe that you'll be traveling back to your
I'm going to Germany today.
Okay, you're not even going to your community for the Easter.
No.
All right, we wish you well.
I just got married, so I'm taking my wife for honeymoon.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.